New Achievement, a Dungeon Crawler Carl book club podcast.
I'm JB.
And I'm Ellie. And in this podcast, we are reading, researching, and recapping each book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. This is a spoiler-light podcast, so obviously heavy spoilers for the book we're on, but we'll try not to spoil any future events in the series so you can crawl along with us. Today, we're covering Part 2 of the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, which is the third book in the series, chapters 14 through the end. Well, JB, will you catch us up on how we got to where we are now?
Previously on New Achievement. Katya joins Carl in Donut, but is too boring for Odette. Mordecai made a mistake and is now in timeout. Carl picked a prize that looks like a joke, but just may be the key to killing it in the dungeon. NPCs are just living their lives, but it turns out those lives are nothing but lies. The team continues to be tortured by a train system called the Iron Tangle. Now, Ellie, can you get us current with what we read for this episode?
This time, on New Achievement. Carl is caught like a cow and neutralizes the nightmare before meeting a flaming hot MILF who steams him into the abyss. We're reminded that HR isn't there to protect the employees, it's there to protect the Tangle, as we learn that corporate mean girls are a universal constant. A grease gremlin and his wife say they dig Donut's vibes, and she considers their offer for a night with a nice bite of fish. Frank pays Carl back with an ominous ring before Frank gets his by Chris's rocky hand. Mobs start getting the DTs as Brynhild's daughters turned out to be a bunch of bitches. Eva betrays Katya and Hekla's plotting gets her rushed into an early grave. The daughters disperse and Donut is doted on with devotions of donated hats from dozens of crawlers whose doom she helped dodge. Mordecai is out of timeout, Katya is out of sanitary napkins, and the floor is out of time. The stairs are revealed, and after grafting the gory gropers of a grumpy growler Gary to a knoll-only gondola, Carl is ported away to grapple with the war god Grull. Carl gets stomped but survives, the AI is satisfied, and Agatha swings by for her standard salutation at the close of the floor.
I'm exhausted. I'm fucking exhausted listening to that.
The important part is I got through it.
The important part is you got through it, unlike many of the crawlers who started in this dungeon. Now, we don't have a crawler count in this half of the book, so we are still at a crawler count of 389,441 from chapter 2, which means we are down to the approximate population of Wichita, Kansas. So, Ellie, would you take us through the important locations in this section?
Absolutely. Mainly we just had two specific locations in the Tangle that we hadn't seen yet. We have the Abyss, which is a giant-ass pit where the trains get dumped after they've run their course, which seems kind of nonsensical, but it's also a giant source of mobs and materials to make it go boom for entertainment purposes.
It's like to me, you mentioned HR, in your description, HR fights for the Tangle, not for the workers. So there's a whole lot of corporate analogies here. And I think just these trains that get produced and run and then get dumped into nothing is like a continuation of that metaphor, just corporate waste, for corporate sake, and just they get used and dumped into nothing, and that's it. So yeah, starts early with the cheerfulness.
Yeah, this was definitely a very, very meta, very corporate dystopia kind of setting and storyline. Then also we have Yard A, which is where all of the employees supposedly live. But once we get there, there's no there. It proves Carl's speculation about how the floor works, about how the NPCs are being manipulated, and it proves that he's actually really insightful about this kind of thing, which seems odd.
It seems odd to you?
It just doesn't seem like Carl's bag to understand this kind of thing this well.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe he's starting to get how the dungeon really, really works, like the levels of the dungeon. And how, because this floor more than any so far have shown us how important the outside influences are, and the AI
Uh,
runs it, but these other entities create it. And I think the more they learn about these other entities, the more this is starting to make sense to him. But to your point, he doesn't get the whole iron tangle thing. Katya keeps saying there's something missing, there's something we're not getting. And he's basically like, so what the fuck? Who cares? We've figured out mystery A, we're good. And whatever you're thinking of is just going to confuse things more. So I guess you're right in that this is not his natural way of thinking. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, I guess he has some experience with like emotional manipulation and false promises and whatnots, which we get into later, which is Ellie brings it back to childhood trauma. Everybody drink.
Oh, I was thinking of fucking Beatrice.
Well, yeah, no, that's a direct result of the other shit that's happened to him.
Patterns.
Anyways, well, let's move on to important characters. Who we got, JB?
So, first we have Hecla, who is the leader of Brynhild's daughters, which is Katya's
Was
original, which was, okay, good point, was the leader of Katya's original team and is the first top 10 crawler to bite the big one at Katya's hand or front, I guess, as Katya accidentally steamrolls her into the side of the train car.
well, depending on how she was shaped at the time, that might have been a tit's first killing.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Those things are dangerous.
Yeah, but what a hell of a way to go. My notes say psychotic psychiatrist.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess we kind of have. It's like finding out the thing about nurses being mean girls. Like we
Not
have
all
this.
nurses.
No, not
Gotta
all
say, not
nurses,
all
but we have this
nurses.
image. I have this image in my head of, like the noble healer and the person doing this for altruistic and good purposes. And, um, well, sometimes people are psychiatrists because they like to manipulate people. And she's kind of been manipulating an entire team of at least, what, 30 women, if not more?
Yeah, and it's interesting because we've seen of her really what Carl and Donut have seen of her because we've primarily been exposed to Brynhild's daughters by the recap episodes
Mm-hmm.
until Katya comes in. And we don't get a lot of insight on Hecla from Katya. We know that she talks to Hecla a lot
Mm-hmm.
because and she feels beholden to Hecla and gives her this information, but we don't know a ton about her. But we find out more about her after she's dead. Really, we do know before she dies that she is a psychiatrist and she was Eva's psychiatrist. So Eva,
Mm-hmm.
Katya's
Mm-hmm.
friend, used to be Hecla's patient. And we get a little bit of her, I think, when Carl and Hecla and everyone are talking about the plan on the train. And Carl says something like, don't kill me, to get to Donut or whatever. And Hecla laughs. He says she's enjoying this
Mm-hmm.
as much as anybody else. So
Psychopath.
we, yeah, we get these glimpses, but it isn't until she dies that we find out how far the manipulation really went
Mm-hmm.
with Brynhild's daughters.
Because the whole point was that she got the crossbow like first day in the dungeon for letting her husband get murdered to death and eaten. And then like went back for, I don't know, guilt or to loot his pants and then killed something with the rib bone from his body. And then she got like the crossbow. It's like every woman in your party increases this by 5% or 10%, like
Yeah.
enough, like a
And
bunch.
nobody knows that until they inspect the weapon after her death. So she's got this team of women around her, like go feminism and whatnot. And her team really thinks that she's protecting them. And it turns out she's getting her power directly from her team. So they think she's like this benevolent ruler who's helping them and protecting them, but and they have no idea how important their presence is to her, because that weapon gets infinitely more powerful depending upon how many women are in that team. So she's withholding of information, which is definitely a big key in manipulation. She's only sharing what she thinks needs to be shared, and when. And she keeps her hands from getting dirty, because we know that Hecla herself doesn't have any skulls, and Eva, her lieutenant, has like a dozen skulls. So she's the
Mm-hmm.
enforcer, and she's even more of a psychopath, I think, than Hecla. She is, at least Hecla manages to keep her shit together enough that she's got people convinced that she cares, convinced that she's nice. Eva is just fucking off her rocker. She's just flat
Mm-hmm.
out scary. And as soon as Hecla dies, the daughters scatter, because Eva has convinced no one that she is caring or cares about them. She's just awful.
Yeah, she's kind of the worst. And uh, we we do learn later on, I don't, it's not really a spoiler, but we learn later on that Nagas have really strong emotions. Like they have trouble controlling themselves because their emotions are so strong. They're like Vulcans who don't have the self-awareness to shut it down. Um, and it's because of that lack of self-control, of her viciousness and her anger and her disdain for, Katya, that she keeps taunting Katya, like, your fiance left you for one of his students because you suck. They weren't going to let you adopt because you suck. Like, I would not be terribly surprised to find out that Katya's chance at adoption was ruined somehow by Eva.
Oh, yeah. Now that you say that, she does really have more than expect. I mean, I can understand getting annoyed by somebody maybe who is kind of needy, but she seems to go way beyond the bounds of what would be expected or what is reasonable in that situation. She develops like a hatred for
Mm-hmm.
Katya, which just doesn't seem justified at all. And yeah, it's just delights in being cruel to her.
Yeah,
So yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that, but that is terrifying, but would make sense.
yeah. And that's why it finally broke Katya and she went to rush her and kill her, but she took out Hecla instead. And then we find
Mm-hmm.
out all about Hecla's manipulations. Um, like there was that one dude who wanted to join their team. No real reason why he couldn't. Like he would not be a particularly influential change on their team or their dynamics, except his presence would not directly benefit Hecla's DPS. So they killed him.
DPS, sorry.
Damage per second, her ability
Thank
to
you,
do
thank you,
damage.
thank you. I was I would have gotten there. I would have gotten there. Yeah,
That's
he
fine.
would have been. Now, they did say that he was creepy, but I don't know that creepy means killable.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't sound like there was. They said that he was creepy, but it didn't seem like to me that it doesn't stick out as being something where this guy needed to die as opposed to this guy needed a strong talking to or needed a punch in the face. It did seem to escalate from 0 to 11 quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. He would have been an innocuous presence. I mean, they have all women, but a man wouldn't necessarily hurt. But I don't know if that would have thrown off the dynamic or this picture that Hecla wanted of being this Amazonian, leader of women. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, they discarded him. And the I'm just it's just so sad. I feel really bad for Katya because as an autistic, misreading friendships and misreading relationships is something that has happened
Ooh.
my whole life. And I have
Yeah, it was not good.
definitely thought that I had friends that it turns out I didn't have, or people that I thought, or people that were my friends, but then I did something or said something or was weird enough that I annoyed them into, no longer talking with me. So I just felt that betrayal that Katya felt, certainly. She was mad at Eva. She probably would have gotten there, and I think she did. She was angry with Hecla, but her real upset came from Eva. I don't know that she ultimately would have killed Katya or would have killed Hecla given the choice. If she killed Eva, would she have then gone after Hecla? I don't think so. I think she probably would have just stayed away from him.
I think Hecla would have manipulated her back into the fold.
Mm.
Like, she lost her lieutenant, but that's okay. Like, it sucks, but she doesn't treat these people like people. She treats them like things, and she's willing
Mm-hmm.
to trade and spend them like things.
And she would have just reevaluated the situation and said, here's where we are now, and now I'm going to make the next best decision based upon where we are now. She doesn't waste time dwelling on what could have been or what was. She's just very calculating. I do think that up until, and it seems like Katya's been with us a really long time, but she's only been with us this book, which is something that I forget. It surprised me when I read
Wow,
that
yeah.
in my own review.
Shit.
But it as long as we've had Katya, she has really been, kind of timid and meek. She's this good girl, this sweet girl who gets manipulated kind of at every turn. And even though Carl doesn't need to manipulate her, I mean, look at what Carl and Donut are doing. Oh, you need to have, or an Odette, you need to have this haircut. You need to be more interesting. You need to be sexier. And here's what we're going to do. Here's the plan. Here's the play. So they are manipulating her, even though not maliciously, they're still affecting her without her having any say or buy in. And being good, being meek, being that people pleaser almost got her fucking killed. And now at this moment, she kind of snaps into not being the nice crawler anymore. She's sort of done with that part of her arc. And this has really turned her into a crawler on her own. By the end, we start to see her participating in the plays and things and really having more say. So yeah, so we've really seen an arc from her just in this book.
I just remember my Lit 101. Um, Katya goes through this change because of a literal baptizing in blood.
Yeah.
Like, anytime in any story or whatever, somebody goes into water and then comes out and then has a significant character shift, that water was a baptism allegory. And she got pulled off the front of the train into the train car by Carl and was just about drowning in the pool of blood that they were all standing in. And then she got pulled out of that, was confused and
Yeah.
disoriented, and then stood up for herself for the first time and became vastly powerful, and it's no more Missy Nightcrawler.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. See, good things happen when you pay attention in lit class.
Just saying. I didn't read a single fucking book they gave us, but I wrote some good bullshit.
But it's helping you now. That's the most important thing.
I'm better at listening than reading. It's fine. Um, yeah, so she moves into the top 10, and also she's being manipulated because she's a doppelganger. Like, that's her
Oh,
class.
yeah.
Like, that's her
Manipulation
whole
of her
thing.
physical form is her whole thing. I didn't even think about that. You're
And
exactly right.
the first time she does it successfully, she's not trying to look like herself or look like a more normal human. She tries to look like Hecla.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot
Because
about that.
she's got so little faith in herself and so little self-worth that she tries to become the only strong person that she knows of who cares about her. Like she, she says that like she brought the whole team back to get me. No one's ever done anything like that for me. Fucking really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? You've uh, wow, okay. You never got a little too drunk at the bar and had your friends like bring you home or get you a burger or like
This is somebody who's never had a birthday party, much less a
yeah,
surprise party. So
yeah.
is it significant then, you think? Because at the end, then she is a doppelganger for Carl. So she goes from Hecla to Carl in that instance as well, when she pretends to be him as they're trying to escape Grull.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Fascinating.
And Carl is a much more selfless person. He actually does things to benefit other people, not just to benefit himself the way Hecla did.
Mm-hmm.
And she's doing that to benefit him as well as to, benefit herself and Donut and their little group.
Mm-hmm.
So that's significant. That's a huge change. And we go from her being a doppelganger of other people's choices to her being a doppelganger of herself. We even get the thing of, she gets her fingers cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then she literally learns how to armor herself, how to protect herself, how to put the metal on the outside so that when things hit her, it's not hitting her, it's hitting her armor.
And then she is a doppelganger for weapons. She turns herself into weapons
Hmm.
towards the end.
Right
So,
before she's Carl, she's
mm-hmm.
disguised as a pillar, an
Mm,
object of strength, a singular object that helps hold things up.
nice.
Symbolism.
Symbolism. Well,
All right, that
speaking
was
of,
just like 20 minutes on Hecla.
I
Let's
know.
move on.
So speaking of Grull, Grull is of course the war god Grull, who is the summoned by Carl as he beats the shit out of some Mantars. And so this is the god that tries to take Carl out at the end of the book. And you have described Grull as
Giant hoofed god monster thing.
yeah, yeah, because this took me fucking forever to figure out because it's a god, but it's piloted by someone. So people outside of the crawl can pay money to like inhabit the body of the gods. So he's sort of driven by the maestro, who we find out, boo, isn't dead. And it took me many readings to understand this god suit. But then I remember the movie Men in Black,
Hmm.
how there was an Edgar suit. Basically, Maestro now has a Grull suit
Hmm.
and is piloting Grull. And one in the cookbook, it mentions that there are spells and things that you could use, like Laundry Day, that would remove the god suit from the separate the god suit from the person who's piloting them. So yeah, that gets confusing. But right now, all we need to know is Grull and Maestro tried to kill Carl, did not succeed.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I had enough context and prior experience in my brain that it really didn't take a lot of stretching to understand, like, oh, you're mantling a god. You are
Oh,
temporarily inhabiting the same mental and physical space as a pre-existing super powerful entity, and it is affecting you and you are affecting it. So we get the picture of Grull and we get the picture of the Maestro, and they merge in the middle and they turn into a third thing, which is kind of Grull that looks Maestro-y.
yeah, I hadn't read anything that had this type of character. So this was brand new. Is this a common game trope?
Um, Common-ish. The idea of mantling and gods and merging with them, it's like spoiler alert for, a very old game, but it's the end of the main quest for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, where the the emperor's been killed and all his heirs have been killed, and without an emperor on the throne to do the magic thing, the veil between the worlds is weakened and you can get like demons invading and shit. And so at the very end, he sacrifices himself to mantle one of the gods to kind of merge with it.
Mm,
And it's still his will and his intelligence and his intent, but it's also the god. And at the end of it, you're kind of gone. You kind of get spent, and he saves the day. Um, so
okay.
I've I have read so much shit that Michael Kirkbride wrote. Like, there's so much metaphysics in my brain.
This was a first on me, but I got it. Edgar
Just
Suit.
stick with this. We'll get to this
Edgar Suit.
36 lessons of Vivek in like 3 or 4 years. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's move
Edgar
on.
Suit's all I got. We also have Frank Q comes back into the picture and gives Carl vengeance in the form of a gift, which is the ring of divine suffering. So this is a ring that, of course, gives a lot of buffs to his statistics and also allows you to kind of choose a crawler, mark a crawler for death. And then that crawler has to die or you won't be able to heal. All sorts of things happen. Essentially, I think it's as good as giving Carl a loaded gun.
Mm-hmm.
He puts it on for the stats because how could he not? But how could Carl, of all people, have this on his hand and not use it to its fullest? He's constantly taking bigger and bigger chances, calling a fucking god. He summoned the god on purpose.
Several
So a
times.
guy who summons a god, you think there's a chance that he's not going to use this thing? I'm shocked that he even thinks there's a chance he's not going to use this thing. Um, he's gonna. He's gonna. This is a terrible idea.
It's it's a temptation. It's like a biblical level temptation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if do the rules say that you have to mark someone who's at full health?
Yes.
Okay. That's why. Okay. Because I thought for a minute before I remembered that part that like Frank and Maggie's daughter dies because Frank and Maggie are fucking noobs, and you don't cast mark for death on somebody until you are 100% certain you're about to shoot them in the head. So like you need to isolate them, you need to freeze them, you need to paralyze them, you need to do something, and then you cast. Like, I guess,
Yeah.
they're cops, so they should know about uneven force and killing innocent people. But you think they'd be better at it by now?
Yeah, it says marked for death. It's not just Steven Seagal's magnum opus, it's also one of the dungeon's greatest, most infamous skills. Once activated, you will be presented with a list of all crawlers within your map's range. Only crawlers with 100% health will be selectable. Once a
There it is.
crawler is chosen, they'll be marked. It takes 30 seconds for the mark to fully set. When a crawler with an active mark dies, no matter the cause, you will receive a permanent +1 stat point to whatever the crawler's current highest stat is. The +1 stat benefit increases by 1 for every 3 marks you kill. Once a mark is set, you may no longer heal. If you are injured or poisoned, or if you get a hangnail, you will suffer the ill effects and pain of that injury until the moment your play is killed. So choose your marks carefully. Don't let them get away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really, if you're
Bad
going to use
news.
the Ring of Divine Suffering, you need to do what they did to the Mantars at the end. Like, you need to neutralize them and then heal them and then mark them and then kill them. But if you're, a fucking ice agent, like,
But I
you
mean,
don't really
how many
understand
times
tactics.
it seemed like, when
See
Frank Q and
Texas.
Maggie Mai used it, they thought that Carl was a sure bet. And how, you might start off by using it in those like controlled circumstances, but you're going to take more and more chances and get further and further away. I just it's bad news. It's a scary thing. I don't like that he has it. It's not good. And obviously Mordecai doesn't think it's good either because he flips the fuck out. He's just
Uh-huh.
come back from timeout from, tagging somebody in the safe room and he fucking smacks Carl upside the head. So, he thinks it's a terrible idea too. So
Oh
bad,
shit, Mordecai, you motherfucker! Like
bad stuff. Bad stuff
my
is coming from this ring.
my favorite Mordecai moments are from this book. The super fast, you motherfucker, and then the take that off. Like I I don't know why. An indignant toad is the funniest voice acting I've ever heard in my life. Like
Yep, Jeff Hayes does amazing work in this book.
fucking props to Jeff Hayes. We love
Mm-hmm.
you.
And then last of all, we have Loita. Now, Loita replaced
Mm.
Zev as their social media manager, and she was able to do that because she used to be the agent for Hecla and her party, and therefore Katya's party. And she is Bloom, which allows her to make the claim really that she should get to take over from Zev. And in this book, I think the most important thing she does is she stops Odette, who is trying to share a secret about Chris, and she cuts that off. So the only thing we know about Chris is that he separated from his team and his brother and then randomly showed up and fucking killed Frank in the bar, even though they've had no relationship with one another. So we have no idea why. And we know that Chris was out to find Carl again, to team up with Carl. So something's going on there, but we have no idea what.
Well, I mean, if he's out looking for Carl and he wants to like team up with Carl because Carl's ruthless and whatever, this dude is a loose end and he's a lingering threat. Like, yeah,
Frank
he gave
is.
Carl the ring, yeah, but Frank is a known entity and a problem who will kill Carl if he thinks he can.
So why didn't he
So
go after Maggie? Why did he go
doesn't
after
know where
Frank?
she
Too?
is.
And I guess if Frank is just at the bar,
He's just there. Like, what the
anybody
fuck
could
does a
have seen
rock
him.
guy care
And
about getting into the club? Like, all right, whatever.
yeah,
Oh, look, this is a minor threat I can squish and we're done. Anyways, you got any rock monster booze? Like, yeah,
okay.
no, I don't know. Um, while we're on our Lit 101 analogies and metaphors, Zev wears her diving suit, which keeps her isolated from the dungeon,
Mm-hmm.
keeps her safe from the dungeon, keeps her from being affected by the dungeon and like the violence and the horribleness. And she's able to be like, yes, this is all fucking terrible and it sucks, but we got to do what we can. And I'm going to do my best to help you because I'm not horrible. She hasn't been tainted by the culture of the crawl.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Loida just wears the rebreather and is 1000% bought in. Like, fully on, just treats them like slaves. They're just
Mm-hmm.
things. No
She's a good little
snacks.
soldier. Good little soldier, that Loida.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, no drugged snacks. Fine, fine, fine. But there should still be snacks. Like,
There should always be snacks.
like,
That's the one thing I
if
was upset about at our wedding is when we got married, no snacks.
no, yeah. And then we went to go get like the famously amazing Denver breakfast burritos. I'm like, okay. Do you think that altitude affects your taste buds? Is this an us problem or is this an everybody else problem? I'm gonna go with everybody else.
So yeah, we don't like
Anyways,
Loida. Loida's a bitch. We hate her. And we want Zev
Lloyd is bad
back and we're
news.
worried for Zev. Loida is bad news. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad news, you want to take us to the worst corner around, Tarantino corner, Ellie?
All right. This time in Tarantino Corner, we had more than a couple. Well, we got chapter 16. If Santa gives coal to the regular naughty kids, he'd probably give this stuff to history's greatest villains, like Hans Gruber and the guy who invented those shoes with the individual toes built in. It burns a lot hotter and a lot longer than regular coal. So I'm the the toe shoes thing. I don't know why the AI hates the toe shoes thing,
Because they're
but
gross.
he likes feet. Like that's like his deal. I
Well,
think it's like the anklet thing where like it's distracting from the purity and the beauty of the foot. Because the other thing he mentions is Hans Gruber being the greatest villain, and Hans Gruber didn't do that much. Like, I mean, he was good in the Bob's Burgers Die Hard musical. Um, but mostly what Hans Gruber did is he caused Bruce Willis to have to run around barefoot in Nakatomi Plaza, getting his feet cut up and beat up with broken glass and shit.
I totally missed that. I totally, I totally missed that connection. Yeah.
So we got,
I was focused on the fact that I also think those toe shoes are weird looking and gross.
see, we think they're weird looking and gross, but
Mm.
the AI likes a nice pristine foot, and he likes it naked with maybe a ring or two, but not an anklet because it's garish and it distracts from the beauty of the plain naked foot. And so having the shoe that looks like a foot is like a mockery of what the AI is really into, you know? Like,
It's an ugly tease.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So my
I
first thought
think
was like, oh, I guess he's not into like latex bodysuits and vacuum beds and stuff and whatever. That's not it. That's not it. It's like somebody wearing a winter coat that happens to have tits sewn into it when you're just a massive tit person, you know? Like, oh, hey there. Oh, that's just oh.
are there winter coats that have tits sewn into them? There
No,
must be
but that's
somewhere.
there
There
yeah, I
must
mean
be
it's the
somewhere. There
future.
has to be.
But that's the level of like weird switcheroo fake out kind of shit we're looking at here.
Kim Kardashian has a bra that has fake pierced nipples sewn
Mm-hmm.
into it. So yeah, yeah. There's a boob coat somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, the future's weird.
delightful. So we also had in chapter 27 some more foot fetish action. We hadn't killed the monster at all. It had hatched. When the creature had exploded, he dislodged several thousand teeny tiny squirming monsters. All you need to know now, little crawler, is that you have to kill these things, and you have to kill them fast. After all, like children, they grow up so very fast. I suggest a nice, firm stump.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you had one more.
Yeah. Chapter 33. This is not made super clear in the text of this book, and it is a very minor spoiler that we get it cleared up later on, but you'll be fine. Um, Chapter 33. When the war god Grull steps on Carl during the fight, he says, the entire world shook,
Mm-hmm.
which it did once before when Carl stepped on that gerbil. Um, so the dungeon came again.
Yeah,
That's what I meant in the summary about the dungeon gets satisfied or the AI gets satisfied.
yeah. And it is concerning for a few reasons, but because his kinks, I think, are escalating. Because at first it was the gerbils, and these little monsters, and now we're up to gods making him come. What is going to get him off next? What happens when even a god stomping on Carl doesn't do it for him anymore? What could possibly be next?
I don't
I
want to
don't want to
know.
see it. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear about it. This is my least favorite part of these books. So,
um,
I just don't want to find out how much an AI can jizz, honestly.
oh, um, small point of minutiae and linguistic connotation. The difference between a kink and a fetish. Um, a kink is something that is like part of sex. It's like a seasoning, and a fetish is something that someone gets sexual satisfaction out of instead of sex. Like a fetish is like a physical item in which one puts like faith and like a god lives in. So the A doesn't have a foot kink, he has a foot fetish because there's not sex involved. It's just a foot doing something. So like if he liked feet
Mm.
like on his face while fucking, that would be a foot kink.
You don't
But
think
just
he
getting
does? You
off,
don't think it does?
he doesn't
Because,
have
well, but
sexual
I mean,
organs. I don't think it can work.
but I mean, but we don't know. I mean, because right now, when Carl steps on something, he's stepping on the AI. Like he's stepping on this physical manifestation of the AI, really. To me, like the AI inhabits all of these things. So I think there is a mental and physical, like, I thought it was, you know what? I don't want to think about it anymore, really, is what's happening. But
Hmm.
I thought that there was, for what the AI can do, the AI can be involved in actually having sex because these things are all connected.
Right. But there's no actual sexual act happening. It's just
But we don't know that.
a foot.
We don't know that. We don't know
Fair.
what is going on. And I don't want to know. I would like to leave that a mystery. Thank you. Cause yuck. I just don't like feet. Feet are smelly and gross and I don't like them. So I don't need to hear more about it.
Moving on. Our favorites section. Favorite achievement. What do we have for favorite achievements, JB?
There's not a lot. There's only one achievement in this section. Chapter 25, new achievement, mentally unstable clothing hoarder. You have over 500 of the exact same stackable clothing item in your inventory. What the hell is wrong with you? You planning on opening a thrift store? You might want to see a shrink. One that your group doesn't immediately kill. Reward? We don't reward this sort of behavior. It's weird. I loved the shrink line, one that your group doesn't immediately kill. I think I said out loud like, oh, like in elementary school when somebody does something like, yeah, I was here for it.
That's solid. Yeah, we also learn in that little section that B's cousin scammed a bunch of people on GoFundMe by pretending to have cancer.
Of course
Um,
she did.
which, Jesus Christ, this family.
Right? These are the worst people you know.
I mean, yeah, there's, having worked in a lot of mansions, there's a reason I'm very classist. Uh, it made me think randomly of an interview with I think it was like the CEO of GoFundMe when like they're just getting set up and he's just sitting there, they're lighting him and whatever, and the line producer is like, you okay? You look kind of pissed off. And he said something like, I run a website where people have popularity contests to pay for their medicine, and if they lose, they die. So no, I'm not okay.
Ooh. Ugh.
Yeah. As
My
of
God.
2024, 1/3 of the campaigns on GoFundMe are for medical expenses, ours included. Please check
Yeah.
the show notes and please help keep us alive if you can. That'd be
We
really
just
nice.
closed our GoFundMe though.
Oh,
Because you're healthier now and I have got some hopefully gainful employment. So hopefully we won't have to open that back up again.
oh, cool. Well,
So I guess we're
until
a success story.
um, I guess we're a success story in the same way that Carl's bones are a success story after getting stepped on by the war god Grull.
Mm-hmm.
They were shattered and broken and then are kind of okay. Moving
Yeah,
on.
sometimes the dungeon looks like the better option.
Honestly,
The rules make more sense.
and maybe I could be like a flying fairy Ellie and not just a regular manic pixie trans girl. Anyways, all right, that's our favorite achievement. There really only was the one. What about favorite quotes? What do you got for your favorite quote, JB?
Oh my God. This was impossibly hard because some of my favorite quotes from the entire series are in this section.
Bitch, what?
So Yeah, bitch what from Amani is just fucking gold. But ultimately, I went with, out of the 6 or 7 that I had chosen, this is, I think, the first part of Dungeon Crawler Carl that I listened to on repeat, just this line over and over and over and over again. So I went with this one. Chapter 22. Carl says, Donut, be cool. This doesn't have to turn into a fight. She was trying something, and whatever it was, it didn't work. We don't want to fight her. You tried to kill Katja, you fucking bitch! Donut cried. She blasted a full strength magic missile right into Hekla's face. Love that. Yeah. Fucking go. I love that. I so that one that one my favorite quote. How about you?
It was a toss up, and I had to go for brevity. As someone who struggles with brevity, I admire it when I see it. So it was pretty much either the Katya exploding or shortly before, um, don't track blood on the floors, Katya called as we all tracked blood on the floors.
It's so simple, it's so effective. The comedy in this book is chef's kiss. There's so many good quotes in this book. This
So
is
good.
this
It's
is a great one.
so
So
good.
if you are somebody who doesn't like this book because the tangle is confusing, please give it another chance. Just accept that you don't need to understand the tangle, because if you discount this book, you are missing some of the best lines in all of Dungeon Crawler Carl, in my humble opinion.
Uh-huh. And I very distinctly recall the first time I was listening through this book, I was like driving back from the pharmacy, and we got to that don't track blood on the floors as we all. And then right after that is the part where Katya explodes. And if I had not been at a stoplight, I might have died by just swerving into oncoming traffic, laughing my fucking tits off. It was so uh, uh
Beautiful. Beautiful.
really, Katya. You need a sanitary napkin. You could have just said sanitary napkin. I don't know. It's not a
Could
thing. I've
just
never
ask.
heard anyone say it out loud.
We'll get there.
All right, well, past our favorites, let's go into our references and trivia. You ready for this one, JB?
8 hours. I started working on this at 11 o'clock on Sunday, and I didn't stop till after 7:20, just on this section. All right. Dr. Phil, 666, the 1950s, MILFs, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Yu-Gi-Oh!, NWA, Book of Revelation, American Pie, Die Hard, Grand Canyon, Texas, Speed, She-Hulk, Hot Dog on a Stick, Voguing, Comic Sans, Latin Phrases, Drug Addiction, Nicolas Cage, Douchebag Culture, Florida Man, Colombian Art, Baseball, Compliance Trading, Hopscotch, Jurassic Park Movies, Human Resources, Plastic Surgery, Pilates, Jocelyn Wildenstein, Filipino snack food, business metrics, fiscal year, Total World, German insults, Greek fast food, Shakespeare, Steven Seagal, ICE, SeaTac, Police Forces, the Bible, Snickers, WW2 Legends, World War II Legends, excuse me, Ancient Greek festivals, Frego Rock, WKRP in Cincinnati, Incel Slang, Arby's, Lawrence Lamas, Fabio, Judge Judy, Crafts Dog Show, Norse Mythology, Sister Wives, Slave Mode, Holistic Medicine, Icelandic idioms, Frankenstein, Monty Python, Egyptian mythology, Spirograph, GoFundMe, WWE, Greek mythology, Pretty Woman, Girl Power, Webcomic, Caribbean folklore, Star Wars, Monster Trucks, Eastern Slavic epic poems, Wonderwall, Oasis, Physical, Olivia Newton-John, Eye of the Tiger, Lisa Frank, The Pandemic, Lee Ferroni, Dr. Ian Malcolm, Mac the Knife, Rock of Ages, Def Leppard, Beanie Babies, Costa Rican restaurants, Roomba, Olympic Rings, Alien, Little Bo Peep, Wolverine, Jello Mode, Stinger.
Nice.
All right.
We need to pause recording so you can go lay
Oh
on the
my
floor
God.
for a minute.
I don't know, but my watch just beeped at me because it thinks I'm working out. All right. So, a lot of interesting trivia in here. So, first of all, the name Amani means faith or belief, which makes
Hmm.
sense. Amani the healer. The name Elle or Ellie, of French origin, means she or her. And Greek origin means sun ray or light. So Ellie, French origin, means she or her, which is very appropriate.
I'm girl light.
Yeah. There are many wonders in a cow's head, is something Hekla says on the train. And the rough translation of an Icelandic phrase that means approximately the world is full of amazing things, and that even something as simple as a cow's head can be full of unexpected wonders.
Okay, hang on, hang on. There is nothing simple about a cow's head. That is huge, that is heavy. Where did you get a cow's head? What happened to the rest of the cow? How are you transporting a fucking cow's head? You need like a chest freezer. You need like a big
Um,
4th of July igloo freezer that you put all the beer in. Like,
I think
cows
the
are
cow is
huge.
I think it's alive and just chewing its cud and living a simplistic life. And even in something as simple minded as the cow, there can be wonderful things. But I don't know who asked the cow.
Wait, are we talking like metaphorical things? Like a cow can imagine many things? I thought it was like you take apart a cow's head and there's weird shit in there. Like maybe
Maybe
cow sinuses are shaped like, I don't know,
they have
a
four
cup of
stomachs.
cappuccino or some shit.
Maybe they have fucked up inside of that. I know cow brains can be very dangerous when they get that prion disease and can cause mad cow disease. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fucked up stuff in a cow set. Maybe you're right. We also have Sheol, which means the Hebrew or in Hebrew means the underworld, the realm of the dead, a place of stillness and darkness, which makes sense because that's how we get dead baby bricks. Now
Gross.
we have Christopher Allen Pallies, who is the first of all, was a WWE wrestler, American professional wrestler. He was a stand-up comic and an actor, better known by his wrestling gimmick and ring name, King Kong Bundy. Under this gimmick, according to Wikipedia, he portrayed a pugnacious trash-talking villain. His
Huh.
quote, "Let what you do mean something," is the epigraph in the ebook and the print versions of this book. I do not understand why there's such reverence for Christopher Allen Pallies in this book. And I don't know from his career if there is something that we're supposed to be taking from this that is more than just maybe Matt Dinniman really liked Christopher Allen Pallies.
This is one of those areas where my otherwise semi-encyclopedic knowledge of nerd shit falls flat. Um, for some strange, mysterious reason, we'll never figure out the overt and super masculine nature of wrestling stuff. Always kind of put me off. So I wasn't particularly into it from like a young age, and it just never crystallized into a part of my media landscape and knowledge. So, uh, listeners, please, if you have any idea why this is as important as it seems to be, what are we missing? I think there's something here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, please email us or find us on our social medias, which I didn't write down. So Editor Ellie will be with you in a moment to tell you what those are. Hey, everybody. Editor Ellie here, and we are on YouTube at New Achievement Pod. You can find us on Facebook at New Achievement Podcast, and we're on TikTok as New Achievement Pod. Not a lot of things posted because apparently I'm in charge of that and was not aware. Anyways, back to the show. Or we could ask Matt this weekend at the Lit RPG Con here in Denver.
Mm. Yeah, it's just I get why your spidey sense is tingling on this one because as we'll go through, there is so much effort put into some of these fucking nothing references, passages that don't matter at all, and that go by in an instant, and then you dig in and there's a ton of shit there. So the fact that this is given so much weight really makes it stand out as this is a flag. There must be something here because some of this other stuff, if this exists, then this has to. It's like a Pratchett thing,
Mm-hmm.
where you just get the sense sometimes that this is a big thing. So, but I don't get it. We would love the help. Please, listeners, let us know what's going on here. Okay. All right. So then we have Lucia Marr, who is a Laja Bless. And Laja Bless is a character in Caribbean folklore. She was an enslaved African woman who made a deal with the devil to give her soul to him in exchange for eternal beauty, again, according to Wikipedia. To others, her poise, figure, and dressmaker seem beautiful. However, her hideous face is hidden by a large brimmed hat, and her long dress hides the fact that one leg ends in a cow hoof. So she walks with one foot on the road and then her cow hoof in the grass at the side of the road. And she smells distinctly of a mix of fine perfume and deadly decay. And of course, we know that Lucia Moore has her form where she has one goat leg and has this ugliness and beauty both to her. So again, this is something that definitely has some legs or poofs, shall we say. And I don't know if I said she smells distinctly of a fine mix of perfume and deadly decay.
Yes, which I saw that and I immediately remembered that when they were watching her post-transformation recap section, Donut says she looks like she smells really bad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, I totally missed that. Totally missed that. Yeah. Well, a mix of fine perfume and deadly decay would definitely do that. Oh God, that'd be like a funeral home times a million. Yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck.
Formaldehyde doesn't smell that bad.
You
Kind of
mix
weird and
too much
astringent.
perfume with anything and it smells really bad. And decaying stuff. Oh my God. Remember the time we accidentally left chicken in the fridge? Bleh. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought we were gonna have to throw away that refrigerator. So
Yeah, no,
this would
that
be
was.
awful.
Ugh.
That was terrible. That was terrible.
We have learned, we have lived, we do better. Also, that was so fucking gross. Let's move on.
Yes. So there were a lot of colors in this section that were ones that I had never heard of. We know Danita Grace had never heard of them, as she pointed out.
Hmm.
So lots of, we'll go through a couple of them. So fulvous is a dull yellowish brown or tawny. Ochre is a yellow browny orange. Mauve is a pale bluish purple. Camel, light brownish yellow or tan, the color of a camel. Cobalt is deep vivid blue. Vermilion is red orange. I always thought it was green. It is not. It is red orange. Mango is vibrant orange with a
Huh.
hint of yellow, like a mango. Yeah, did you think vermilion was green?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't exactly know why. Maybe because of like verdigris. I don't know. It just I thought it was green, but it isn't. It's red orange.
Huh.
Amaranth is a reddish violet color and is named after a flower. Zomp, shamrock green, which I think I will always remember. Zomp.
Don't.
Uh, Sinopia, another deep reddish brown. So lots of weird reddish brown kind of icky colors. Mindaro is a light, bright, and vibrant yellowish green. And what I thought was Grullo, which is actually pronounced Grullo, Grullo, pronounced Grullo, is a color of horses in the Dun family, characterized by tan, gray, or mouse colored hairs on the body. So tan, gray, or mouse colored is Grullo.
Huh.
Katya mentioned chartreuse and then that there's a big dispute about the color of chartreuse. So chartreuse technically is a color that falls between green and yellow on the color wheel. And some people think it's more green while others see it as more yellow. It also exists in varying shades, which makes more sense to me now that I know like about like remember the dress that was like blue and white or gold and whatever. If that can happen, then I can imagine people just going into fucking fits about the color chartreuse.
Uh-huh.
And so that is the color trivia in this section.
So there's some really cool biology shit with color and perception. Particularly, I think, with magenta, which is a color that shouldn't exist, but our brains are capable of like synthesizing and combining certain sensory inputs like color. And so it invents the color of magenta out of two conflicting things,
Mm-hmm.
which is why, like, for a while there, we were all convinced that mantis shrimp could see more colors than we could because they had more
Oh
kinds
yeah,
of light receptors. It's actually just because the mantis shrimps don't have brains that are big enough to parse the visual data like we do and to invent things like magenta. So instead, they need to be able to see the individual components of the color because their brain can't combine it into a single sensory experience.
I was hoping we'd get a mention of octarine. I think that would be super cool,
Mm,
but
that would have been
maybe it
good.
happens later on in the series. We don't know.
Drop the ball on that
Uh,
one, Matt. How dare
yep,
you not reference our personal favorite author,
of course. I
your favorite
assume
living
it's
author?
one of Matt Dinneman's favorite authors as well. I just assume.
It's got to
I
be.
don't know. It's got to be. Yeah.
We could ask him
Um.
at Lit RPG Con
Oh,
this
we
weekend.
can this weekend.
We are going to bother that man so much.
I hope he signs his name slow. Is all I can. I have a lot of questions, so he's gonna write very slowly.
More of a
We.
comment than a question for
Oh
Mr. Dinneman.
God. Oh God. We cannot be the nerdiest nerds in a room full of nerds. We can't be.
Babe,
We're
it's
gonna have to
Lit
like
RPG
practice.
Con. Like we have seen people naked before. We're not going to be the like in person.
That's a good point.
Like we're not going to be
That
the nerdiest people there.
that is a good point. I can already picture some of the people we're going to see there from other
Yeah, us.
cons, like from other conventions. I know who's going to transfer over to the Lit RPG Con world. I know a couple.
Oh, I hope we see that guy who does that really good data.
Yeah, most of them are Star Trek people for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. All
Look, I
right.
have like 4 Starfleet uniforms from different eras. I'm not gonna throw the first whomst among us has not
I'm looking forward to it. We
cosplayed as
haven't been
a
to a con in a long time, and we've
Starfleet.
got some good literary costumes. I don't know if we're gonna cosplay or not, but we are gonna
Oh,
try to
fuck,
not get
that's right.
arrested while talking to Matt Dinament. That's my goal is to like keep it together enough. Not totally. I can't expect miracles from myself, but keep it together enough. A reasonable goal.
Shit, we should have made done Carl cosplays.
Everybody's going to do that. Everybody's going to do that. So I think Discworld would be appreciated at this con. Because what is Discworld if not a forerunner to Lit RPG and all of these any fantasy series that uses humor? I think this is has roots in Discworld. So
I
that'll
buy
be
it.
another episode. That'll be a Patreon episode. All right. So we have hot dog on a stick. Currently, there are 35 locations in the US, and there are also franchises in Korea and China. I don't know if they have the amazing corn dogs like they do. We had some amazing South Korean corn dogs that made me crave corn dogs when I was reading this. Costa
Oh
Rica,
yeah, those were
they
good.
reference in the book a restaurant called Soda, but in Costa Rica, sodas are normally small mom and pop open air restaurants that serve only traditional Costa Rican food. So they are not, it's not like a proper name. It's just a type of this little restaurant. Okay. Now this is going to get us some hate mail. You might want to, I don't know, we'll have to flip for who checks the email box this week because
One,
this is,
two, three. Not it.
oh, fuck. This is octopus versus octopi, the plural. Octopuses, octopi, and I didn't even include octopodes in here. But so Amani
I
says
like octopodes.
octopuses, octopi, which is correct. And the answer is either, neither, both, whichever. It's just different ways the English language adopts plurals. And this is according to Merriam-Webster. Octopi is the oldest plural of octopus, coming from the belief that words of Latin origin should have Latin endings. Octopuses was the next plural, giving the word an English ending to match its adoption as an English word. Either are acceptable.
Okay.
But octopi is right. Either are right, but I think octopi is right. Because octopuses just sounds weird. So we also have referenced in the book Fernando Botero when Katya says they're like living Botero paintings, and Fernando Botero is a Colombian artist. He has his own style called Boterismo. He's known for playing with volume and scale, also highlights themes of power and politics in contemporary Latin. Contemporary Latin America, excuse me. He uses humor. And when I saw this, like, you have definitely seen these types of paintings in a meme. It's big head, little face. And they're so funny. They're so funny. So if you look up Fernando Botero, there's one called Mona Lisa that I guarantee you have seen this face before, and they are in memes everywhere, and they are quite funny. And so
Just you talking about that at lunch, just big head, little face.
Big head, little face.
It was so cute.
Big head, little face.
Big head, little face.
That is our section on trivia and references. As always, thank you to Wikipedia and Merriam-Webster. And Matt Dinneman, your brain is a scary place to be, sir. I mean, wow. Really. Just really. Wow. All right. Now we've got everybody's favorite gratuitous violence of the non-foot variety.
Yes. So our gratuitous violence, I think hands down winner, chapter 26, Growler Gary.
Hands down. I see what you did there.
I made a funny. I'm going to pretend I did that on purpose. So we got an NPC who can't leave his bar, and he comes back when he's killed. He has something, or he knows something vital. Turns out you need his hands to run one of the interdiction team portal carts. It's a cart that goes along the tracks, and it basically has a cow catcher that is a portal. So what do you do with all of the wreckage in the Iron Tangle, which would be just about impossible to clear out because the tangle never ends? You use a portal and you dump it into the abyss with everything else. Quote, the interdiction cart only turned on with a pair of gnoll hands on a magical sensor plate. The two plates were far enough apart that a single gnoll couldn't do it. But if the hands were no longer attached to the body, ... So we also get a little bit in the Anarchist Cookbook about how the rules for essential NPCs have changed over the years. So in some of them, we get Skyrim children rules where you can't injure or kill the children in Skyrim because Bethesda does not want to deal with that. Or you get Morrowind essential character rules where after you kill them, you just get a message that basically says you done fucked up. With this death, the thread of prophecy has been severed. Revert to an earlier save game or persist in the doomed world you have created. Wow, I wonder if I got that right. I should look up that quote. Editor Ellie here again. The actual quote, with this character's death, the thread of prophecy is severed. Restore a saved game to restore the weave of fate or persist in the doomed world you have created. Pretty close. Anyway, so we find out that...
Are you going to be happier if you did get it right or didn't get it right?
Yes. Look, that was... I went back to try and play The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind because that was like a formative adolescent video game for me. And I was very surprised that when I got it running finally, that none of the lines that are spoken are actually spoken, because I have very clear memories of hearing all of these people talk, but it was just the text on the screen. And I posted about that, and a lifelong friend said, yeah, that's because you read them all aloud in different voices. Because I came over that one time, and you sat there showing me stuff and reading people's lines out in different voices. Anyways.
Just you all the time, forever and ever and ever.
Fucking me the whole time.
So
we find out that some...
is this in gratuitous violence? Because that seems fine, you know? It doesn't sound so gratuitous so far.
Well, We find out that in one previous iteration of the dungeon, if an NPC was essential, if they were necessary for a quest or something, they just couldn't die. So they strapped him to their shield and just literally used his body as a meat shield because it couldn't die. In this one, we get a respawn. So the crew, our crawlers, need Growler Gary's hands to run this interdiction cart, but they need two left hands. So they have to keep killing this dude over and over and over again because every time he dies, they cut off a hand and then they go to use it and then something else comes up and they have to come back and he's respawned and then they got to kill him again and cut off his hands again. And it is very gratuitous. And he's like passed out drunk the first time, and then every time after that, he's out of booze. So they have to be like, I'm so sorry. We have to kill you again. We will bring you some booze.
And the blood stays. So all
Yes.
of this blood that happens ends up just pooling, just covering everything. And they describe him as just being in the corner with his spear whimpering and
Hmm.
begging. Now ultimately he ends up being very brave because they tell him straight up, like, look, we got to kill you 10 more times. I'm sorry. But it is hideous.
It's full on.
It is gross. And they have Mongo bite off his head and then bite off the hands because they are trying to do it as painlessly as possible. But this is bad. It is bad. It is bad. So it's definitely gross to it. Can you imagine how much blood there is after cutting off, decapitating, and then cutting off somebody's hands 14 times? Ugh,
Gallons and gallons and gallons. Like
gross.
inside
Real
of the
gross.
train car kind of shit. Like at the end of this, someone else should have been baptized in blood and come out a stronger fighter and whatever.
Mm-hmm. And so this NPC's name is Growler Gary, and he is in a bar. So just looking up, uh, you know, some trivia. A growler is a glass, ceramic, or stainless steel bottle used to transport draft beer. Often, if you go to a brewery and you want to buy beer that they have, you can get a growler. So, Growler Gary in a bar. Now, the name Gary is primarily of English origin and generally means spear or spear bearer because fuck you, Matt Dinneman. Seriously, this character is in this book for like 2 pages. Okay. And his only job is to die. That's his only job, literally, is to die over and over and over. And you think Growler Gary's such a nothing name. This is real. This has got to be nothing. And you fucking find out that the name means spear or spear bearer, and he has a spear and it's a growler. And Jesus Christ, oh my God. This is why I have to look up everything. I have to look up everything, every single thing, because Growler Gary is a whole thing.
See, this is
There's
this is
meaning
why the
there. It's
Pallies
insane.
thing. There has to be more to the
Right.
Pallies thing.
If Growler Gary exists, Christopher Pallies must also. There's got to be something. There's got to
Hmm.
be something. Absolutely.
Also, by the way, Growler Gary is not full of beer, but he is full of blood.
Ugh.
And every time we open him up, a growler full of blood spills on the floor.
Uh,
And I think a slightly less linguistic pun, famously in Fallout 3, when you find Vault 108, you find out that they've been doing experiments with cloning, and you find this out because the only people left alive in the vault are a couple dozen clones of a guy named Gary.
oh my
And
God.
like a Pokemon, the only thing he can say is his own name. So you have to wade through and kill dozens of dudes named Gary trying to kill you, going, Gary, ha ha, Gary, oh, Gary. So just like Growler Gary is cloned over and over again, you gotta keep killing him. You gotta keep killing these clones of Gary to make it through the fall.
And like, in theory, could some of this be a coincidence? I guess
No,
technically, but come on. Like,
none of this is a
seriously,
coincidence. Come on.
I'm going to have to make a list of things we might have to pay for I don't know if they charge for autographs. We might have to buy several because I have things to say to Matt Diddiman. And Growler Gary is going to be right up at the top. And then that thing about the other Iron Tangle about the mass transit stuff, like
Mantar.
I have lots to say. Okay. Another gratuitous violence, my choice for gratuitous violence, is in chapter 29. Katya exploded. At least that's what I thought had happened. Blood erupted out of her, gallons and gallons of it, flying in every direction. It just kept coming and coming, an impossible amount. We all cried in surprise. I was blasted in the face, getting bukkakied by the fetid, stinking liquid. I fell over, trying to get away, gasping and choking. Donut squealed and leaped across the room. Mordecai also flew backwards, stumbling over the couch, his frog legs sticking straight up into the air. And still, the red spray didn't let up. It hit the ceiling and all the far walls like it was being sprayed from a multi-directional pressure washer. Mongo shrieked in joy, spinning about like a child in the rain. It kept coming for 20 full seconds before trickling to a stop. Katya just stood there in the middle of the room, eyes huge. Once it stopped, the room was filled with the sound of my coughing and Mordecai's croaking and the tap, tap, splash, tap of Mongo dancing in circles like he was playing in a wading pool. Really, Katya, Donut said, leaping to my shoulder. If you need to borrow a sanitary napkin, just ask. I fucking love this scene. I love this scene. I love this scene so much. 20 seconds is so
that's so long. That's so long. Oh my god. Oh.
Now, as much as I love this scene, and I do love it so much, so very much, there is some criticism, particularly by some women have criticized this scene, saying that it is anti-feminist because it is essentially period humor. I respect that opinion. I disagree. As a menstruating human being for well over 45 years now, my only objection to this scene is that no woman in the history of time has ever said sanitary napkin, ever. It's a pad. You say pad. That's just it. Or a liner. But this would not be contained. This is the one that you need. Like they show you in elementary school when they give you sex ed, and they out of the box they take out like the world's longest, heaviest, widest pad, and everybody giggles, everybody laughs. Like this is the kind of thing where you need that pad for this. A liner, not going to do it. And just so you know, just for everybody's information, since it's primarily men that listen to this show, the sticky part of a pad goes in your underwear. The sticky part of the pad does not go on the vagina. The sticky part goes on the underwear, not on it should technically vulva, but I'm already going to confuse people. I don't need to confuse them anymore. The sticky
don't call your face your throat.
The sticky part does not go on the skin. The sticky part goes in the underwear. We're not taping our vulvas closed. So I don't think this is anti-feminist. I don't really think of this as period humor. Exactly. I mean, Donut's comment is I just don't like sanitary napkin. That's the only part that stands out to me, but I think this is like one of the funniest scenes in literature. Frankly, this is so good.
I mean, it itself feels very Pratchett-y that it ends with the thud that it does.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've never heard anyone say sanitary napkin, but most of Donut's experience of the world, and particularly Earth culture, is from TV. Like, she's never actually, like, been to the store to buy pads or tampons or whatever. And, like, apparently, the actual pads and tampons were never actually tested with blood or a blood-like substance. They actually used the fucking blue liquid from commercials.
Yeah, that's why they don't suck up clots. Yeah,
Fucking excuse me?
yeah, yeah,
That's for demonstration purposes, not for science. You have to
yeah.
do science with sciencey things.
The number, like, if you ever want to feel even worse about humanity, but in kind of a funny way, if look at the subreddit Bad Women's Anatomy, and
Oh
it is
God.
just full of men's takes on women's bodies and health and hygiene, and periods are a big part of that. And there is an amazing number of people, not just men, who think that women's periods are blue because of those
Right.
commercials and the fact that there are like there's consistency and clots and chunks are things that do not people do not know. There's also an amazing number of men who think that women can hold in periods like you hold in urine, and so they just don't understand. That's one of the major arguments against free menstrual products in bathrooms, is that women should just be able to hold it like men do.
Yeah.
But if
Um,
we've done anything, listeners of this show, those of you that are still listening, will not you've been disabused of these notions. You do not in any way think any of these mythological theories anymore. Talking points.
Talking points, things that didn't really fit anywhere else or were way too long, and we still wanted to talk about. You went first. You have things about torture?
Yeah, so this book is where you really feel like Matt Dittman is starting to torture Jeff Hayes, the audiobook narrator.
Oh
And
yeah, no, he totally is.
they specifically mention this. If you listen to the audiobook after the book is over, there's a sound booth theater commercial that is featured in the audiobook, and it mentions specifically that authors can fuck with the audiobook narrators by giving characters impossible to pronounce names that are going to be very important in the next book. We're referencing specifically Serendolgor, that is Serendolgor. Serendolgor.
Serendolgor. Serendolgor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
that. If you told me to guess 100,000 fucking times how to spell that name, no,
Yeah.
not even close. I mean, I can't spell, but still.
Yeah. So, on top of that, these are the accents featured in just this section, only this section. We have Firebrandy, who's German. She's the pinup. She's the pinup girl that is in the fire with the shield bricks, having all the babies. So she's got a German accent. Miriam Dom, the shepherd, has a gentle Italian accent. Prepotente, the goat, has a nasally British accent, like how a spoiled prince might sound. He also screams. Every cry was loud and short. It was unlike anything I'd ever heard. And by the way, the word prepotente translates to overbearing, bossy, arrogant, domineering, or powerful in Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese.
So she named her bossy goat Bossy.
Yeah, I was thinking Matt Dinneman did, but yes. And then there's also one more. There's Widget the Grease Gremlin. This is the meanest of all, I think. His inflection was like a Creole guy poorly attempting a Cockney accent.
I can't. I can't.
It's
I can't.
just,
We watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and Gambit showed up and started making noises, and you were just nodding like those were words. And I had no fucking clue what Channing Tatum was saying. And you were just like, what? I have mealy mouthed Southern Illinois relatives. I'm like, oh,
mm-hmm.
sure, great, okay. I have Northwoods, Wisconsin relative, but that just means I say things like pasty and don't you know? Like, that's still English-ish. I,
Yeah.
I My brain doesn't
It's
parse French very well, and apparently that extends to Creole.
Do you think he calls Jeff Hayes to be like, or do you think Jeff Hayes sees this for the first time when he opens the text of the book? Just, fuck you. Just, like,
I have a
I believe
feeling.
they're friends. I think they traveled together. Like, this is
Oh yeah, no,
so,
they're
this
that.
is, and hats off to it shows how much Matt Dinneman respects Jeff Hayes, that these are in here and called out, and he has full faith that these can be done and they're done so well. But good Lord, like there's not a flat Midwestern here to be found.
Well, supposedly the internet is killing all of our coolest uh accents, so at least it's preserved in the crawl. Um, well, speaking of preserving things in the crawl, Princess Donatia, she sent tactical sunglasses to Donut. She apparently knowing that they would detect Hecla's sneaky murder bolts, and suspecting, like Odette, that Hecla was aiming to poach Donut by eliminating Carl. Presumably, Hecla had used these sneaky murder bolts before because she doesn't have a skull. And the sneaky bolt
Ah,
specifically says if they die from another reason, you don't get a skull.
all of this. I did not, it never occurred to me that Donatia knew like that this what this is for, that I missed all of this. I just thought, oh, fun sunglasses, yay. Um, yeah, this blew my mind when you mentioned this.
Well, because like I'm always thinking about how much more intel and context our team has compared to literally everyone else in the dungeon. Like even
Mm-hmm.
Team Meadowlark, their guide is their agent
Mistress
now.
Tiatha. Mistress
Yeah,
Tiatha.
Mistress
Mm-hmm.
Tiatha. But apparently she's useless and doesn't do anything. Like she just
Mm-hmm.
steals Ellie's money to get drunk, which mood. But
I feel like she's going to be important in the future. I feel like she's Chekhov's Mistress Tiatha.
but having sponsors who are outside of the spectator who sees more of the game, they know what's going on to the point of it looking like prescience from the
Mm-hmm.
inside. Like, yes, Hecla is gunning to take out Donut. Maybe she's said that out loud, or she's talked about it with, Eva at some point, and no one knows it except for people who are tuned into the stream at that exact moment. And if you're a big time, I don't know, player, if you're involved in this the way Princess Donatia seems to be, you probably have like an AI or two or a team of people watching these streams 20
Mm-hmm.
to 30 hour days, whatever, all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and pumping out information into you so that you can then use your sponsorship powers to influence what you want to happen. So even our most well-informed team in the entire crawl has nowhere near as much data to try and predict and prepare for upcoming threats as even like a random super fan who watched streams and recaps and after shows and whatnot. It's like they even get like, here's what's coming up on the next floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine if
So,
the streamers see it.
so it's not just having sponsors; it's having rich sponsors.
Rich, well-informed sponsors.
As much as Carl doesn't like this playing to, the social media crowd, I mean, in order to get rich, well-informed sponsors, you have to have a pool of fans to draw from, and
Hmm.
so the stuff that he kind of resists is really really critical. Yeah, I missed how significant this gift was, totally. So great catch.
Let's look at also Carl's gift from the Velte Corporation is a portal reader, which like yeah, it shows you what's on the other side of the portal. You can take a picture. That's what we're presented it as being useful for in the beginning. But the actual use of that mod or that UX upgrade was that he was able to see what keys you needed to go through the nightmare portal.
Yeah,
Because
that's
at no
right.
point does that tell you what you need or how you do it. And if you go through without it, you either aren't going through or you're going to die. And so getting the word out that everyone needs to get their hats would not happen without his UI upgrade from the Valte. All of those people getting saved because they collected hats would not have happened without the Velte. He saved hundreds upon hundreds of people because the
Hmm.
Velte gave him an upgrade that he didn't actually really understand at the time.
He's not the only one.
Yeah,
I am
plans
included.
within plans. Some harkening shit over here, Matt.
That is bonkers. Um, Speaking of that scene where people are laying down their hats in front of Princess Donut, that to me had a very like a Lord of the Rings movie, you bow to no one vibe to me. That's
Mm-hmm.
totally what that reminded me of. And then other Lord of the Rings kind of a reminder. The last line of the epilogue is "Let's go kill some gnomes," and that totally reminded me of "Let's hunt some orc." So some good potential callbacks to the Lord of the Rings films here, and I really think that's where Princess Donut really becomes a princess in this moment. She's getting reverence and thanks from her subjects, and she's
From her
she
adoring
really is
public.
royalty in this moment. So I really loved this scene. That is a scene in Lord of the Rings where I always cry every time. You bow to no one just always gets to me, and I teared up for sure at this scene as well. So it was a nice emotional, lots of emotional arcs that you don't necessarily expect to see in a book like this, but this really got me. It was really cute.
It also had a few strains to me of the end of Schindler's List with the
Mm,
big line of people putting the stones,
Stones.
which is like,
Hmm.
this section is here so that you have time to finish crying.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
literally why that sequence is so long.
Wow. That was a great scene.
Don't make out during Schindler's List.
No, no, that's a terrible date movie. So is Battlefield Earth, but for totally different reasons. Continue.
All right, what do we got? You wanted to talk about sound booth theater.
Yeah. So the audiobook has a commercial again for Sound Booth Theater. And there is some behind the scenes featured in from that show that Carl and Donut recorded. So if you are somebody who doesn't typically listen to all the stuff at the end of the audiobook, you really should, because these
Mm-hmm.
commercials do tie in with the text. So Earth Beautiful is the show that Carl and Donut recorded. They had some content from this show that featured Miriam Dom reading the history of hip hop, Hecla describing Nordic mythology, which turned out to be the movie Thor Ragnarok. Somebody else mentions the Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon card from Yu-Gi-Oh! And then Miriam Dom in Prepotente in theirs, they talk about Ice Cube's diss track towards his former group NWA called No Vaseline. And then of course they have outtakes of Carl and Donut's recording. So this is really funny. If you normally skip this kind of stuff, it's worth it to go back and listen for sure.
And they have a point. I mean, all the love goes to Blue Eyes White Dragon, but Red Eyes Black, that don't sleep on Red Eyes Black Dragon, is all I'm gonna say. Um, once more, Ellie brings it back to childhood
I
trauma.
was gonna
Drink.
say you're gonna bring it down.
We after the attempted murder of Katya and the successful revenge killing of Hecla, we get some trauma bonding between our main cast, and we find out that Carl's dad once made him sleep in a tent in the yard because Carl had a nosebleed that wouldn't stop. So that's like profound fucking abuse. And it's like one more piece of evidence as to why Carl is so emotionally closed off. Um, like when Donut tells him that, Chris showed up and killed Frank Q, and he's like, "What?" She's like, "I've got Sledgy in my chat." And Carl's like, "I have never even thought to add fucking anybody except when it was a utility."
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, and then Batista, jokes that he put a single gold piece on what song the Portal Cart was gonna play. And Carl treats it like a real thing to be discussed and guessed rather than just like a silly $1 bet for funsies, like something you would do with your friends.
Is it bad that these are the moments that I identified the most with Carl? Because as soon as he said, it never occurred to me to put Sludgy in the chat. That really stood out to me because I'm like, yeah, like why would you? It would never occur to me to even try to put these people in a chat or to reach out and talk. That was just blows my mind. And the same thing about even now, just hearing you say that, I was with Carl, like, yeah, nobody's gonna get this. It's this out of this top 100, like across all time. There's no way. I didn't really realize that some people were doing this as like a fun kind of thing. So yeah, I'm team Carl on these.
I mean, that we could excuse some of this with some neurodivergence and, the lasting childhood trauma, but it's just building this picture of like the battered and emotionally starved psyche that Carl has. But then we also get at the end of the book, just casually in a paragraph about other shit, where Carl's like, "Oh, these people are like my friends. I need to have people around." Like, yeah, man, you didn't you didn't catch that part? Like, I
I
thought that kind of shit happens when like you're in the military and like you bond with people and it's a whole thing. But then he's like, "Oh yeah, my mom killed herself and tried to kill my dad, but she only managed to kill herself." What? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What? And just moves right the fuck on.
So anyways,
Excuse me. Excuse this. It's like when you make a joke to your therapist and they just sit really quiet for a minute, or like
they
you kill
sigh
the
and write
vibe
it
at the
down.
party for yeah. We don't have time for that today. We don't have time for what? What? That was just my eighth birthday. It wasn't that bad.
That's a killer
So
closer.
we that's that is beyond profound levels of trauma. And I guarantee Carl has not taken the years of work it would take to recover from that kind of thing. Um,
I really the other moment of Carl's that really stood out is to me when he said, I really, this is, Katya is with us forever, and he starts to realize that people saved him. They saved him. He was worth saving. They used their resources to save him. That is the feeling that I had when we moved away from where we had lived, and the comedians came together, and like we had a goodbye show, and people were like there to see me leave. And I was
mhm.
amazed that these people considered me like a friend or like somebody worth coming to say goodbye to or participating in. It really floored me. It shocked me. And I feel like Carl as this goes through the same shock of like, I can't believe it. I never would have thought. It never would have
This is the
occurred.
good version of when you finished My Time at Portia, and it does like the retrospective of your time going through the game, and you're supposed to like form relationships with the NPCs and maybe like date someone and get
And get
married and
married.
whatever.
You're supposed to
And
have
it's showing
friendships.
these still photos of
I
like
skipped all of
it's
it.
supposed
I
to be one
skipped
of you
all
and
of
your
that.
best friend, and it's just you standing there alone. And
My
then there's
arm
like one of
around
your
nobody.
wedding, and there's fucking nobody there. It's just you
I'm at the
standing looking
altar
off
by
into the
myself. I I did not realize at all that that was an important part of the. You're supposed to like give gifts to people and like match their interests. I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I skipped all of the friendship stuff, all the friendship quests. I didn't go on any dates. It's like half of the game easily. Easily. I just missed altogether. Uh, it
you're
just seems so pointless.
you're not a people person. That's fine. That's fine. Just
I
a
love
people
my
person who's
dog.
worked in HR for 20 years.
I have worked in HR for years.
Remember, kids, HR is there to protect the tangle, not to protect you.
that was actually something I wanted to discuss because it really amused me, or it stuck out to me. The way that the announcement that the Tangle was closing was so cheerful. It was as cheerful as any of the other announcements. It wasn't said in any kind of different voice, and it reminded me so much of a company CEO announcing that now that we've laid off 20% of our staff in a right size, things are going to be so great. And I've been through that so many times. I've been the person who's been laid off, and I've been the person at the company who's watching their friends pack up their stuff in boxes while the CEO is saying, now things are going to be wonderful because we've gotten rid of that dead weight. It's just the tone that this book got so right for me was this endless bureaucracy. They're working these characters until the floor closes or they're fed to Kravyad. So they're working these characters literally to death. It's mindless, it's endless, and it just the tone of HR, the tone of Madison was 100% on brand, perfectly right. It was, yeah, it was. I know these people. I've been through this experience. I've lived this for so 20 plus years for sure.
I loved Madison so hard because she hated that other bitch in HR who was her.
2 weeks. 2 weeks started 2 weeks after her.
It was
Fucking
just
bitch.
her. It was just a different version of her.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hope you're choking your fake tits. Don't
But
don't
you
you
got to
have
get whatever bit
fake
of sorority, like
tits?
seniority, whatever you can get that makes you better than somebody else. And 2 weeks of seniority, that means something. God damn it.
And
So
she's
yeah.
like shit talking some cost saving thing and it's like, oh, she's just doing that to try and save costs. Meanwhile, I did this thing that saved cost.
Hmm.
Like, you just
Yeah.
you can't even
And the
hear yourself,
productivity
can you?
initiatives, I mean, I have meetings,
Oh,
I've had years worth of meetings where you're just going, yeah, that was an increase of 33% year over year. And, you're trailing, 3/4 of trailing is this percentage. And, you're 80% to budget, and which means you're not getting a bonus because only this team's getting a bonus because they're 105% to budget. And here's this person's of employee of the month because they increased our the KPI was 80% and they were at 70%. Just I know this. I know these people. I know these businesses. I've lived this.
and as someone who really does not have a lot of experience in corporate America, the shit that you were just rattling off literally just sounds like game mechanics. But we're talking about people's livelihoods.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we were talking about
Yeah.
something else on a different show, and you were like, oh, we were talking about like, a thing on a dating app and like disclosing if you're neurodivergent or not, and how like if your manager saw you on a dating app and saw that you were neurodivergent, they might like try to fire you, but they wouldn't do violence to you. And I'm like, firing you is doing violence to you. When you need money to live and not die, taking that away from someone is doing violence to them. And like you get more money because of these six things that have 2% higher of this and that and this and things. Like you're playing a fucking game with people's lives.
Every company has a goal of involuntary attrition. There's a goal number that companies have. They have to fire a certain number of people. Not they can't let them quit because that's voluntary attrition. There's a certain percentage of their staff every year that they have to fire. They bank on it. And I've worked for companies where we weren't firing enough people. So we had to take all of the safeguards off, all of the things that protected employees, performance improvement plans and coaching. We had to get rid of all of those and charge the managers with more firing of people. And that's common.
At no point did anybody say we have to fire these people because it would save us this percentage of money. And someone went, well, if we just knock the CEO's pay down by 10%, that would do the same thing.
No, because we got to answer to the shareholders. It's all about the shareholders. It's all about the
Because
shareholders.
number go up.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if the planet burns, doesn't matter if people die homeless and freezing in a park, number go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And you want to be there when that happens. Well, we do have a couple more things. There was another sex themed bar name, Downward Dog, and then another Get It. Lizards that climb up the walls are called wall monitors, like monitor lizards. Haha. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Matt Dinneman did address how complicated the tangle is in chapter 30. He specifically has Carl say, "What the fuck? How does this make sense?" Yeah, not helping. Jesus fuck. Nobody can follow this. I still couldn't make sense of it. I can't imagine how anybody could make sense of this confusing bullshit. I hope whoever designed I had the sense that whoever designed this level let it get away from them. I hope the same asshole wasn't in charge of the next floor too. So he knows.
Ominous
Matt knows.
foreshadowing. Wait, the same asshole is in charge of the because Matt. It's Matt.
It's
Matt's in charge of
Matt.
all of them.
It's Matt.
Matt, don't call yourself an asshole. You're nice.
You're nice.
I'm
Although I did say
presuming you're
fuck you
nice.
earlier.
You're
I've said
clever. I've
fuck
never
you
met
many
you.
times. We'll see. We'll meet in a week and a half.
I'll buy you a beer. That'd be great. Not like a growler.
No growlers.
All right, on to discussion questions. If you made it this far into the podcast, we love you too. Um, Discussion questions are so that you, our dear listeners, can discuss with us. Please email us your answer or leave a YouTube comment or hit us on our socials, which Editor Ellie will be inserting here. Hey everybody, Editor Ellie here, and we are on YouTube at New Achievement Pod. You can find us on Facebook at New Achievement Podcast, and we're on TikTok as New Achievement Pod. Not a lot of things posted because apparently I'm in charge of that and was not aware. Anyways, back to the show. Our favorite answers will be read on air during the next show. Yes, we have them, but I don't have them in front of me. Last week's question was, what personal space upgrade would you want for where you live? Our favorite answer was from D. Brennan. I want a food replicator that makes whatever you ask for. Earl Grey, hot, to banoffee pie. I want to eat everything, and being a dungeon crawler is the best diet ever.
Nachos.
No mention if the long-standing fan theory that the reason that replicated food in Star Trek doesn't taste as good is because the replicator is tracking your nutrient and mineral intake, and it modifies the food to be healthy before it makes it tasty.
Oh, fuck you.
So you could eat nachos every single day, but it's gonna fuck with the nachos and the cheese so that you're still getting your proper diet because you're in the military. Sorry, Starfleet's totally not a military. It just happens to be a military. So this week's question, you posed the Ring of Divine Suffering, yes or no, and why? JB, what's your answer? Ring of Divine
Ring of
Suffering.
Divine Suffering, a no for me. It's the same reason I don't play games with microtransactions. It's the same reason I don't gamble. I have an addictive personality, and I would start with the best of intentions, but I would not be able to stop myself, and I would get myself into huge trouble. This would be my downfall. So it's a big fuck no from me. How about you?
I've been stuck on this all week. I don't mind games with microtransactions, and I don't gamble, but that's because I'm a contentious bitch. And the first time I lose $10 gambling, I go, well, fuck this. And then I get angry at it and I don't do it anymore. I hate gambling. It's stupid. It never works. I will throw $1 at a phone game here and there because I want to unlock that character and it's $1. Okay, fine. But I don't know what I would do with the ring.
Interesting.
Like all of these questions are basically like, how far would you sacrifice your own humanity?
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't like that my answer is apparently as much of it as I need to.
Mm-hmm. Morality is a privilege in the dungeon.
How far are you gonna go? Well, I mean, what are we talking about? Is that knock on my door some Girl Scouts selling cookies, or is it a bunch of ICE agents with my old birth certificate? You know, like my reaction depends on the scenario, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't have a good answer. My answer is I don't know. But dear listeners, please email us your answers. But I think that'll wrap it up for this episode of New Achievement, just under the 2-hour mark. Jesus Christ, I have to edit this later. Our next episode will actually be a very special episode with a very special guest. Tune in and download to learn all about what it's like to actually be a geriatric nurse taking care of Team Meadowlark. Dude is a nurse that deals with geriatric people. He himself is not a nurse who is geriatric. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be funny. All right, just do the thing. Just rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, like and subscribe on YouTube, rate us on Spotify, email us your comments, questions, corrections, or just say nice things to us at newachievementpod@gmail.com. So until next time, be sure to get out there and kill, kill, kill.